Could update 1.20 Minecraft have that long lost, long awaited, juicy combat update? The camel just got buffed. Again. How long will this madness continue? And maybe, just maybe, will my sweet long-lost cousin, the archaeology update, be bundled in? How's it going, everybody? It's me, one of the world's biggest Charlie XCXers, and those are a lot of beautiful questions. A lot of beautiful questions that we'll be taking a look at today. I'll go ahead and split this video up into different sections for you laddies. Hopefully you find whatever you're looking for, and maybe, if I'm lucky, it's the whole thing. So, there's only one spot we can start. There's that first question that I asked you up on that hill a second ago. Combat update. Is it in 1.20? Well, there are some interesting recent changes that lead me to think that maybe, like just maybe, it's not entirely off the table. How Minecraft is updating the game is changing a little bit, so technically speaking, this combat update could be coming even sooner than 1.20. But what if I told you inside of the most recent snapshot and inside of the most recent preview and also recent Bedrock updates, there are combat changes tucked in there. Let's take a look. Chronologically, of course, let's rewind back to Bedrock update 1.19.30. This is a Bedrock update that came out probably about a month ago or something like that. If you caught this Andy Warhol-esque masterpiece of a video by... oh, wait a second. That one was by me. Ah, shucks me. You really shouldn't have put it that way. Anyways, if you caught this video, in this one, you might remember we talked a little bit about shield changes in this Bedrock update. And look, I'm sure there were other changes done to the shield at some point, but for our little combat update talk today, this is where we'll start. It's pretty recent. Inside of this update, not only did shield blocking get a little bit better, but shield repairing also got some big upgrades too. Check this out. Inside of the crafting table, before 1.19.30, this was literally in... Huh? Oh, that's awkward. The bug is back. Our next stop in the Combat Update 1.20 Conspiracy Theory brings us over to Java Edition, Snapshot 22, W43A, the most recent snapshot. Inside of this recent snapshot, an interesting change, or a couple interesting things happened to the shield. So first things first, check this out. If I'm using a shield, then I go ahead and press that. I should have put a delay. Needed a delay. Let's go ahead and run that again. Whoops. Look, from all the way back here, I used the shield, and if I used it in time, it will block the damage from the end crystal explosion. And that's different. Okay, so clearly, as we learned there, explosions are dangerous. There are other types of explosions that previously, the shield didn't care about at all, including this one. Now, this one is going to be literally impossible for me to show off here, but if I were... Hold on. No, it's not. With a little help from my friend over here, I can show this off for you perfectly. So excuse me here, this could be a little hard to see. The shield blocks literally the entire screen. Anyway, so my friend over here walks up to the respawn anchor and no, don't do it. Not in the overworld. Oh, well, it doesn't really matter because it was holding the shield. As of the most recent Java snapshot, shields will now be able to block explosion damage from end crystals, from respawn anchors, and actually from beds exploding in the nether too. When it comes to shield bugs that were smoothed over in the most recent snapshot, that's not all. MC bug 92017, which has been in the game since 1.14.4 in 2019, was also fixed. This bug had to do with shield damage direction and basically the shield not being able to figure out where the damage is coming from. This would cause shields to sometimes not block damage that they shouldn't. Still inside of Snapshot 22W43A, but inside of the nether, we got one last shield bug. First things first. Oh no, I'm a damsel in distress out in the open. If only the gas would see me and try and... If only this thing would try and actually, like, shoot at me, you know? Check this out. If I use the shield to block the gas fireball, well, now it actually does that. I'm blocking the gas fireball and taking no damage from the explosion. I think all the damage is from the fire, right? Seems like a lot of damage, though. Okay, so these next few bugs, maybe they're related to combat, maybe they're not. It's up to you. But first things first, check this out. I'm on fire. Okay, now I'm actually on fire. If I use the splash water bottle, it actually puts me out. It's so cool. Now if I'm on fire and I move over to the boat, like, I don't know, maybe the boat will put me out of fire. Well, it doesn't. I'm no boat expert, but boats should definitely provide a barrier between you and the water. I think that's the point. And now that actually works. Same with the raft too. The blaze mob is a literal embodiment of fire, except in a creature. It doesn't like water. But if I put it in a boat, it's fine because it's not touching water. Do these bugs relate to combat? I mean, I don't know, it's up to you, but in my opinion, I kind of think they do. In the Blaze's case, it's like combat against a mob. In the case of the fire splash water bottle thing, I mean, you could use both of those things in a combat situation, right? On the same day the Snapshot 22W43A released, Bedrock Beta 1.19.50.22 also released. Included inside of this beta were a couple more shield bug fixes. Long story short, there are so many minor changes having to do with the shield, which is directly related to combat. If that sweet combat overhaul was coming in 1.20, well, logically, the first step would be polish any and all features related to combat, including the pillaging. And so, as you can see here, in the most recent snapshot, they now fire sideways. Yeah. Unfortunately, today, we won't be able to call it for sure. But at the least, all of this focus on the shield, it's interesting. Maybe more shield stuff is coming in 1.20, or maybe they're going to work on combat soon. Next up, let's move on to the most perfect 1.20 feature so far, the camel. A lot of the topics in today's video came from my Instagram story. I actually asked the smartest people in the world for some questions and theories about 1.20. This camel bit right here is just a little bit of interesting stuff that I found about the camel since this week's snapshot video. So look, please excuse my ignorance on how the camel actually behaved before 22W43A. At least on Java Edition, I'm not sure if this has always been a thing. But check this out. If I use the camel and I dash like I'm running right now, it's decently fast. If I go ahead and use this camel and give it swiftness though, it gets even faster. Like you can see here, it's going a little quicker. Combine this with that leap thing and you can cover a lot of ground really quickly, making the camel even more tanky than we already discovered in this video. But wait, there's more. Splash potion of leaping plus camel plus swiftness. We go ahead and run, get a full charge here, or almost, and we cover a lot of ground. This camel is insanely overpowered. It's crazy. But it gets even better. Maybe you play Bedrock Edition, and if you do, when it comes to the camel, consider yourself blessed, because check this thing out. If we go ahead and move into the water, in the second preview here with the camel, you can still float in the water. Is this intended? Will this stay forever? I mean, I guess we'll have to wait and see, but like, seeing as it is still inside of this beta, it's interesting. With the devs focusing so much on feature parity nowadays, if this does stay on Bedrock, eventually we'll get it on Java too, and that makes the camel even more insane. Aside from that, as far as I can tell, the camel is basically exactly the same thing. But this whole potion stuff, so check this out. Already running pretty quick. Give ourselves speed 2. We pick up quite a bit of speed. That's really nice. Now, if we go ahead and maybe just charge back over to where we started, and at the same time, give us this whole leaping thing, this is insane. On Bedrock Edition, this leap feels way farther, like way more powerful. But check this out. We give ourselves new leaping and new swiftness for the camel. We go ahead and charge up and run over here. If I can do this right before the water, I can leap clean across this water right here. Like from there all the way over to there. Like that is insane. That's absurd. And knowing this, you try and tell me that the camel is not the most overpowered thing in the entire game.
But wait, there's more.
Look, for science, I go ahead and hit the camel a couple times. Like, we just hit it, we jump on top of it. Look, it took damage. The camel will naturally heal slowly on its own, but you can now actually heal it with cactus too. We give the camel cactus, check it out. It got a heart back. We give it another cactus right there, jump on top of this thing. It's got a little bit more health back. Despite what your eyes might be telling you right now, no camels were harmed during the making of this video. None at all. Somehow, my camel friend over here took quite a bit of damage. Over on Java Edition, go ahead and give this thing a cactus. We get the love hearts right there. We check it out, and it's healed. Like a little bit. Give it a couple more cactus, check it out again, and we're back to full health. At least on Java, I'm not sure if these are new mechanics or just mechanics that I completely overlooked somehow, but interesting. What if I told you there's more? What if I told you there was more? Cue the sad music. Back over to that Reddit AMA. Will we be able to put chests or something else on the camels for storage? Alrav. After looking at the camel that has this ability to have 2 players, unique dash ability, we don't want to overshadow the donkeys and llamas by giving it storage. Look, I get it. You don't want to overshadow Donkey. Sure, fine. And it's already insanely overpowered as is. A ton of cool mechanics, and they can actually split one saddle into two, completely defying all logic at all. But like, this is such a huge missed opportunity. If not a chest or something, why not the bundle? And speaking of the bundle, we have even more information on this thing. Wasn't gonna even talk about this one because I feel like I keep saying bundle when, bundle soon, bundle how, bundle where. But then I got like 5 or more questions specifically about the bundle inside of 1.20. So let's talk about something new. Big shout out Mummy, Potato Man of Minecraft, because this is where I first saw it on Twitter. Oh, the X thing from the bundles has been added to the latest beta preview, bundle 1.20. Then we got that X thing from the bundle. We got it inside of the files, and we got what it is exactly on Java Edition. When the bundle is full, you'll see this X. Check this out. As you'll see here, if I move a stack of the best Minecraft mob into the bundle, then we get that X, and that X is seen nowhere else in the entire game, only in the bundle. I got a theory here. We've got a new way of doing snapshots and experimental features. It's called data packs, and 2 data packs, 1.20 and the bundle. If the bundle was coming in 1.20, why would it not just be inside of 1.20? I mean, sure, maybe the devs don't want to like promise a feature and then remove a feature again, because as we learned from the past when it happens, some people tend to get a little bit frustrated, so maybe they're keeping it separate just in case. But with images from the bundle being added to the Bedrock betas and previews, it almost seems like the bundle might be coming even sooner than 1.20. Maybe one of the 1.19 updates, like 1.19.3, or maybe even 1.19.5 on Bedrock Edition. One of the biggest things holding the bundle back from existence was the controls of the game, and the controls have now been reworked over on Bedrock. I don't want to talk about it for too much longer because I feel like we talk about it all the time, but I feel like there's a decent chance that the bundle could make it into Minecraft before 1.20. The final piece of this bundle puzzle today sends us over to a dev Twitter account, CornerHardMC. Going forward, the new plan for Java is to have multiple minor versions throughout the year. So that's kind of old news. We heard about that. Moving on here, we have a little bit more interesting information. 1.21 will be a brand new big update, just like you thought. However, there may be other updates like 1.20.1 with additional features, similar to how the Piglin Brood came out after the main Nether update. Wait, that makes me wonder, if you put a Piglin in the overworld, it like shakes tremendously and turns into this thing. What happens if I put a Piglin Brood in the overworld? Oh, it does the same thing. Oh, you could make this thing like way nerfed down by converting it. Oh, that's smart, that's smart. Anyways, Piglin Brood being added to Minecraft after the initial Nether update. I loved that update. That was great news. A very exciting development. While we're inside of the desert, let's talk a little bit about the desert update. I've seen a lot of theories bouncing around in the community, and also on that Instagram story that I made about a desert update. Because camels are being added to 1.20, maybe a desert update is coming too. Keep in mind that the only official theme that we know for 1.20 right now is essentially diversity and storytelling. Does the desert revamp fit into that theme? Well, I mean, it could, but keep in mind that the desert update features, we've actually seen none of them so far. That's the meerkat, that's the palm tree, that's the oasis sub-biome, or biome. Even though the camel is very obviously tied to the desert, like I mean, you literally go to the desert to find this thing, it technically was never part of that desert update. Looking at all the new 1.20 features that have been added so far, they're all kind of just different variants of existing things, like bamboo, a variant of wood, chiseled bookshelf, obviously bookshelf variant, hanging sign, obviously a variant of the sign, and then the camel, I don't know, it's like a new horse variant or something like that. I would say that a desert update isn't off the table. I mean, technically nothing is off the table right now, but I don't think this beautiful beast necessarily confirms a desert update. Speaking of long lost awaited features, I almost can't say this. It's too emotional. Archaeology 1.20. Well, actually, just like combat, I don't think it's off the table. Let's go back to that theme for 1.20 that we learned about at Minecraft Live this year. Diversity, inclusion, storytelling. Storytelling. Archaeology. Is archaeology literally not exactly storytelling, but in like the historical form? Trick question. It is. Unfortunately, I'm starting to feel like with a lot of previously announced features, you know, things like different biome updates and stuff, they're announced and maybe they'll come one day, but they're not prioritized at all. However, with archaeology, and maybe this is like just blind wishful thinking here, but I like to think with something like archaeology, there could be a giant section of the game and is directly related to storytelling and is also really, really loved by the community. I'd like to think that this feature isn't just pushed back for eternity. Taking into account the educational route Mojang has been going with some of the new features, for example, the mangrove swamp lately, I mean, come on. Archaeology is such an opportunity. Look, Mojang, I beg you, please, I'll give you anything. My big point here with this one is a point that I haven't seen very many people make quite yet, and that's the fact that archaeology is literally storytelling. The devs haven't confirmed or denied anything anywhere in regards to archaeology being canceled or being in the update. But I mean, storytelling, plus a literal dinosaur coming in this update. I mean, come on. It's a perfect fit. Last but not least today, let's take a look at the creative inventory, because this thing is being reorganized and redone big time. Inside of this inventory, we have lots of different blocks that currently exist in the game. These blocks have been resorted into tabs that kind of make a little bit more sense, at least for the most part. Inside of functional blocks, we have the fletching table. Functional blocks. Haha, that's funny, that's ironic. The fletching table is inside of functional blocks and not like, I don't know, building blocks or something like that. So does that mean that this thing is finally getting a use in 1.20? Well, I feel like this kind of ties back to the combat update. I've had for the longest time, like since 1.14, the theory that the fletching table functionality is in some way tied to the combat update. If a combat revamp is coming soon, and the fletching table is tied to that, then yes. Despite the excitement and anticipation for then actually use for this thing, I think this thing being in functional blocks is really just like putting it near the other things that are kind of similar. However, at the same time, all of these are workstations, and this is a workstation too, and I mean, it's not right next to it, right? Maybe that is weird. One of the biggest letdowns of all time, though, at least for me right now, is inside of building blocks. I hate to leave you on a bad note today, but inside of building blocks, we have reinforced deep slate, which I would like some explanation, please. How is this a building block if I can't literally build with it in survival, right? Like, I mean, natural blocks over here, scroll down, and a portal frame. But this is a building block, apparently. In survival, how do I build with this thing? Like, I literally don't get it. It's like saying I'm building with the end portal frame block. Impossible. Is this thing placed inside of the wrong tab? Maybe to hold a secret back? Will the fletching table finally get revamped? Well, like some kind of perfect loop that I've created on Shorts or TikTok, that loops us right back around to the combat update, which means you have to watch the entire video from the start again. Thanks. Before you do that, definitely remember to smash like, subscribe for more videos just like this all the time. If you submitted an interesting concept, theory, or idea on that Instagram story, thanks. It's been me, Waddles. I'll see you back at the intro of the video in like 10 seconds. Bye, guys.